Barack Obama spoke tonight and killed it, just crushed it. And it reminded you of why Barack Obama was Barack Obama and why he became president twice. Michael earlier said, thought it was the best speech he's given at a convention. We can debate that in a minute. The audacity of Hope's speech was one of the best speeches I've ever heard in my life. Now, as usual, I will have a couple of bones to pick, but first I want to talk about some of the great stuff in there. In the beginning, he started by actually going after Trump. Oh, thank God, finally. He did it in his own elegant way, but he was forceful. So he wasn't doing it the way that I do it. Moron, idiot, incompetent. He's not gonna say those things. And I got facts to back it up in regards to Trump. But he said, look, he didn't put in the work. And he said, I thought he would rise to the weight of the office and the importance of the office. He said, but he can't. Wow, like I love the way he put him down like that.
But Cenk, when he said he didn't put in the work, I think that it was even more biting. He said he showed no interest in putting in the work, which is even more biting.
Absolutely, and then he talked about the attention that Donald Trump craves. And so all these things are absolutely true. And yes, maybe we might have talked about it 1,000 or literally 10,000 times on the Young Turks. But the country trusts Obama. And so for them to see an immensely popular president as Obama was, deliver those stinging words, it was a slap across the face to Donald Trump that we've all been longing for. So I was thrilled to get it from Obama. And you know that it's driving Trump crazy as we speak. And he will say the most hideous things tomorrow.
Well, he's already tweeting, and he's tweeting that he can't, in all caps over how long it took Obama to endorse Biden, sort of deflecting any of the insults that were thrown his way by Obama tonight. But it's just more of the same. So
yeah. So and then one last insult that he did that I thought landed really well. He said, "Look, you can't solve these problems by just making stuff up." And it's just that it's the core of what's wrong with Trump. He just makes stuff up. He doesn't do his work, doesn't care to do the work, and all he does is crave attention. So he nailed it. So now that's not why I thought it was a great speech. That was the beginning, which was very good. The minute he started speaking, though, the way that he speaks, what he says, I was like, oh, right, Obama, right. But now let me get to a critique, and then I'll tell you why I actually thought it was great. In the middle, I was like, that's the smooth sound of the status quo. So he talks a good game, but when he talks about an active citizenry, but I know too much. I know that when he became president, the people he said, oh, I need you to push me. The minute we started pushing, he hated it. And he put it down, and he did not activate the young or or progressives or anyone else, or even more importantly, his own fans, his own voters. He never activated them, and he never joined that active citizenry. And in fact, this was a great speech, and I think it's a speech he should have been giving for 4 years, but he just doesn't do it. I know he has a different view of being an ex-president, but really, we're still following etiquette in the Trump era. No, you're protecting your own reputation. And so in some of the cases, when he talked about and the young and how they have to be more active and voting more, and they have to push the next government. The minute we start pushing the next government, if it's the Biden administration, one of the people we're gonna have to get through is Barack Obama. That's just a fact. He's not on our side, and on that, he never has been. And by the way, when progressives were fighting like hell, he organized to get Joe Biden elected. And that's fair, that was his vice president, I get it, he did what he did. So those are my critiques. Now, why was it great? I love that he did it by the Constitution. And he actually hit the same theme Bernie Sanders did in his speech, which is, you guys aren't getting it. Our democracy itself is at stake. And he's absolutely right. So when Kayleigh McEnany, Trump's press secretary, today was asked, Trump is saying he might not leave office if he loses. She said, well, we'll have to see what happens in the aftermath. No, we don't see what happens in the aftermath. If you lose an election, you leave. It's not hyperbole, guys. It's not hyperbole. He will destroy this democracy in a second if he can, to stay in office, whether it's this time or God help us if he wins a second term. He's never gonna leave. And so, and then, but the way that he framed it. So when he talked about how he was talking to a civil rights leader, and that leader called him later and said, when you were being born, I did the math, I was being marched off into a jail cell during the civil rights era. That was so powerful. When he talked about how those civil rights leaders were killed and African Americans in this country have been brutalized and whipped and hung. But even in the worst and most dire situations, when they had every right to say this democracy doesn't work and will never work for us, they still believed and they still fought. And if they can do that, we can do this. And that's what makes Obama great when he's in moments like this.
And now I get to go, correct?
Yes.
No, first of all, I totally agree on the Constitution thing. That this has been about the Constitution and how it's been run roughshod over now for a few years by the Trump administration. First of all, he was in Philadelphia. And all I can think of, how is he not watching the Flyers and Canadiens playoff game? That's another story for another time. The point that is really interesting, and it speaks to who Obama is that everything that people would love about it and Democrats would love about it, going after Donald Trump, finally in that way, endorsing Joe Biden, finally in that way, speaks to what people like about Barack Obama, is that he waited to do it, that he was deliberate in doing it. And that is also one of the very frustrating things about Barack Obama. It was frustrating about his presidency, and it was frustrating, Cenk, you talked about the call to activity and activism. And he didn't really do that. He spoke about it, but he didn't do it. He was far too timid as a president to the likings of myself and many others. That said, I think, obviously it's apples and oranges to what we're living through right now, and there were great strides in the Obama administration, and just his presidency said so much about the country. But I do think that when you hear him and you see him tearing up about civil rights. I mean, I don't know that he actually teared up, but he looked like he was getting emotional there. I saw that side of Barack Obama and what Democrats and what Americans miss about that in a leader anyway. And I think it was wildly effective because he's somebody who does speak to so many people. And this also, if it's a blueprint for what he's going to be doing now for the next several months until Election Day, then the Democrats have got to be really happy with what they heard tonight.
Yeah, I hope he does continue to do it. All right, last word goes to our members. Opinionated and California totally disagreed. Opinionated says, Mr. Hope and Change that gave neither hope nor change to the peons who voted for him twice. This man is disgusting, in my opinion. He speaks with forked tongue eloquently. Okay, so super harsh. Okay, and Obama's record does not always match his rhetoric. I don't know that I would have gone that harsh. But California, on the other hand, both Young Turks members says, I lost it listening to Obama, especially about those who were beaten, whipped, hanged for eating at a lunch counter. All my pent up despair came out in tears. I'm so tired fighting on, but I'm exhausted. And I'll tell you this, California, hang in there, brother, hang in there. Because I know it's tough, but as Martin Luther King said in his speech, and I think it comes from the Bible originally, but wrong forever on the throne, truth forever on the scaffold, but that scaffold sways the future. And it is swaying that future, and we're seeing it right now. And yes, Biden won this time around in the primary. Let's hope to God he wins the election. But I don't think that the establishment has long left in them. They won this really important pivotal fight, but they're running out of steam. And every day, progressives get stronger and stronger and stronger. And yes, in these super dark times led by Donald Trump, it seems so hopeless. But remember, he barely won and lost by 3 million votes overall. He's the last gasp of the angry white man. And we're gonna get rid of those right wingers and then hopefully transition to progressive. So hang in there, everybody. And finally on Obama, he almost did it. He almost did a line from Gladiator. He said, "What we do now echoes in future generations." I was like, oh, you almost had it. Echoes in eternity, in eternity. All right, you guys make this possible. TYT.com/join and become a member. TYT.com/go so that we can do programming like this for you guys, including the RNC next week.
Thanks for watching the Young Turks. Really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.